Stretching down the western coast of India, the Sahyadri Mountains form a 1,600-kilometer barrier of steep ravines and heavy volcanic rock. At first glance, this is an incredibly hostile environment for dense human settlement. Yet, this exact terrain incubated the populations that eventually built India's largest economic and cultural engines. To understand how, look to the geological formation of the Deccan Traps. Millions of years of cooling magma left behind massive stepped basalt rock. By 1500 BCE, the early Jorwe culture had learned to farm the rich, black volcanic soil that eroded from these plateaus. In the Deccan, the land dictates the rules. That dense volcanic bedrock became the literal foundation for the civilizations that followed. By the first few centuries BCE, the Satavahana and later the Vakataka dynasties unified the region. They established major trading routes, exporting textiles and spices all the way to the Roman Empire. Rather than importing materials to build freestanding structures, these dynasties used what the geography gave them. They sent artisans to the sheer faces of the basalt cliffs and carved their sanctuaries directly into the rock. The Ajanta caves are the result of this method. Generations of craftsmen chiseled deep into the horseshoe-shaped gorge, creating vast halls and intricate murals straight out of the living mountain. This engineering method peaked centuries later at Ellora with the Kailasa temple. Instead of building from the ground up, excavators started at the top of the cliff and removed 200,000 tons of solid bedrock, carving downward to reveal a massive monolithic temple. These sites drew monks, merchants, and wealth from across the continent. Long before it was known for its military might, the Deccan was a fixed cultural and commercial center for ancient India. By the 17th century, the political landscape had fractured. The Deccan was divided between competing sultanates and faced constant pressure from the sprawling Mughal Empire to the north. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj recognized that the region's harsh geography was an asset, not a burden. He saw that steep valleys and dense forests could neutralize the massive armies of rival empires. He organized local clans into highly mobile light cavalry units, executing rapid raids and immediately retreating into an expansive network of forts. He repaired and constructed over 300 strongholds. Some crowned the highest peaks of the Sahyadris, while others, like coastal Sindhudurg Fort, acted as heavy stone shields against land and naval bombardments. This military structure supported a specific political philosophy, Swarajya, or self-rule. It shifted the objective from surviving under various kings to establishing an independent, sovereign state. Shivaji Maharaj built a military apparatus that held off the Mughals, and in the process forged a unified Marathi identity deeply rooted in defending that exact terrain. Following his death, leadership transitioned to his prime ministers, the Peshwas. Under their command, the strategy pivoted from holding the Deccan to projecting power far beyond it. Maratha cavalry poured from the Sahyadris, capturing territory from the southern peninsula to Afghanistan. They dismantled the Mughal Empire, placing administrators and troops in rival capitals. Securing major trade routes, they taxed the subcontinent, funneling wealth back to Pune. In less than a century, the Marathas had dismantled the old order and drawn the geographic limits of what would eventually become the modern Indian nation. When the British East India Company defeated the Maratha forces in 1818, the era of cavalry charges ended. But the pursuit of Swarajya adapted, transitioning from physical warfare to intellectual and political resistance. Bal Gangadhar Tilak, widely known as Lokmanya Tilak, recognized that a divided population could not challenge colonial rule. He turned to education and the press to rebuild the public's political consciousness. The British had strictly banned large political gatherings to prevent uprisings. To bypass these laws, Tilak took Ganesh Chaturthi, a traditionally private household observance, and transformed it into a massive, multi-day public festival. Because it was a religious event, the British could not suppress it without risking severe backlash. The festival brought thousands into the streets, providing a legal cover for leaders to deliver speeches, coordinate boycotts, and organize the masses. By turning a cultural tradition into a tool for mass mobilization, the region proved that the structural framework of Swarajya could survive colonization. While Pune remained the political and intellectual center, the economic focus shifted 150 kilometers to the coast. Beginning in the mid-1800s, engineers dumped millions of tons of earth between 7 disparate islands, fusing them into a single continuous landmass, Bombay. Fusing the islands inadvertently enclosed a deep, protected bay. When the American Civil War disrupted global textile supplies in the 1860s, this new natural harbor was perfectly positioned to export massive quantities of Indian cotton. Wealth flooded into the newly reclaimed land. Traders, merchants, and laborers migrated by the thousands, rapidly filling the space and transforming it into a dense, heavily industrialized urban grid. Mills sprang up across the peninsula. A massive workforce arrived to run the machinery, processing millions of bales of raw cotton and cementing the port's role in global commerce. The capital generated during that textile boom laid the financial groundwork for modern Mumbai. The old cotton exchanges gave way to the headquarters of banks, stock markets, and multinational corporations. Simultaneously, cities inland carried forward the legacy of reform. Pune expanded its academic institutions, evolving into a major hub for technology and higher education. Today, Maharashtra drives a massive share of India's GDP, fueled by the commercial machinery on the coast, the technical expertise in the interior, and the enduring architectural wonders of the ancients. Over thousands of years, an unforgiving volcanic landscape forged an empire, and ultimately, that empire laid the bedrock for the modern Indian state.